Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how you can count colors, some colors in Excel. This can be very useful, especially when you're working with an Excel file that is color coded. And yes, you can say, I can write formulas for that. I'm just going to use a bunch of summaries. And yes, that's possible, but you might need to write a lot of conditions into your formulas.
To get started, make sure you have this developer option here. If you don't have it, then right click on any of the other options here. So I'm going to right click on automate, and then I'll go to customize the ribbon. And then here, make sure you check this box for developer and click OK. Now that you have the developer option here, click it and go to Visual Basic. And this is going to open up this window for us. All we have to do is to click this insert and insert a model. So we have this blank screen and we just need to write the formula in here. So I'm going to paste the formula here. And this is just going to get two parameters. So the first one is what do we want to count? And the second one is the color that we want to count. So I'll close this window and close this window. Now that we have the count formula, let's test it out. I'm going to click equals. And the name of our formula is count colors. So I can see it here now. And we just need to highlight what we want to count as the first parameter. And if you notice here, this is showing as non-fixed. We want it to fix the column so that when we drag it down, it's still referencing the data. To fix it, I'll click function F4. So that's going to add all this $sign here. I'll click comma, and then I'll click this green. Let's start off with the green one, and I'll close the parentheses and hit enter. So now I can drag it. And because we fixed it, the formula is still working for everything.
And now that we have the count function, let's write another one that can help us to do a sum instead of a count.
To do that, we're going to go back to Visual Basic and we're going to click Insert again, Model. So I'll paste the formula here. If you notice, they have the exact same number of parameters. The only difference is that here we are doing a sum instead of a count. And also we're checking that the value in the cell is numeric, meaning if somebody were to enter this value, like new is not a number. We're not going to get an error. That's why we are taking care of it in the formula by checking if it is numeric so that we don't get an error. Now that we have the function sum color, let's test it out as well. So I'll close this and I'll close this. So here, let's do sum color. Now what do we want to sum? Now instead we want to sum the salary. So I'll highlight this. And again, we need to fix this function F4 just so you can have all this dollar here and comma, green, and close the parentheses and enter. Now I'm going to drag this down and we can see that this is working. So let's test it out real quick. Let's say green. How many green do we have? We should see 14 and 605,000. So I'm going to come here in this filter. To get to filter, go home and go filter here. So I'll get filter. Let's see filter by green. Let's see how many green do we have. We see 14 and that was what we saw. What about the sum? We see 605. If I clear the filter, and we see 605,014. So this is working perfectly.
And now that we have both the sum and the count, let's write a function that combines those two. The only difference is that this one is going to have a third parameter that can tell us, oh, do we want to do a sum or do we want to do a count?
For a combined formula, we just need to do the exact same thing. Go to Developer and click Visual Basic, and now Insert, Model, and we'll just paste the formula here. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is that now we're combining both functions. This one has to take 3 parameters. The last parameter is the difference. Here we need to know, are we trying to do a count? Are we trying to do a sum? And that's the difference. For the first one, when we're counting, we're going to perform all this operation. And when we're summing, we're going to perform all this operation. So the name of the function is count or sum color. So I'm going to close this and I'm going to close this. So now let's test it out in this space here. Equals count or sum. Now we just pass in, what do we want? Let's start off with count. We want to count this. And again, we need to fix it. And then comma and click in green. Close it, enter. We get an error because we forgot to put the last parameter. So I need to add the last parameter here, which is we want to count. So comma, count. Close it, enter. Now we see 14, and I'm going to drag it down, and it's the exact same number here. Let's do the same thing now. Instead of count, let's sum. So it's going to be the same formula, equals count, count or sum. And now we want to sum the salary. Here we want to fix it, and comma, the color, and comma. Now we want to sum. So put sum here and close the now, and this drag it down. And now let's make sure we format this as dollar. So let's go back home and click dollar. So we notice that this is the exact same value, 605,000, 605,000, and the same thing with count.
That's it. I hope you find this video very useful. If you do, remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye.